Yeah.
We're making Michael look bad because he's like, you know, he has his own channel. He can figure
Yeah,
out everything.
he's
Now he's
totally
like,
good,
crap,
man.
why did Toss invite me on this freaking stream?
He's embarrassed.
I know. I think that red in the face
Michael, I wish I
is
could help
anger.
you. Seriously, I'm sorry. I don't use plasma, but one of the if that's what you're
I don't
using,
use it either.
one of the reasons is the audio menu setup is not
Just all
user
that I
friendly.
just go with
Yeah,
Pavu control. That's what I do.
he's probably tried
I think he
Paw
could have
control.
gotten on. I think he could have gotten onto the chat a little quicker with an Etch a Sketch.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
I gotta keep score. That's
Michael,
one for
what's
Tim. Very
the
good.
problem? Well,
Oh crap! Did I say?
And
Did I
there he
just?
goes.
I must have said that out of my.
He's probably he was having the same problems I did. You checked because when I was running Ubuntu 1804,
Yeah.
you checked every setting. I made sure the microphone was set to the proper
Yeah.
setting. I went
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
Hangouts.
Yeah.
No matter what I did, it just seemed like I couldn't get the
Well,
audio.
tell him how
I
to
could
fix
hear.
it, Joe.
What's that?
Tell him how to fix it then. Tell.
Fix
Well, no,
what?
I couldn't get it fixed. Yeah, you know how I fixed it?
Get in
I
on
jumped
it.
off and I came back on. I think at the time it was Mate.
Okay.
or,
Did I
or
ma-
I
Did I
came in-
make? Did I make that last comment out loud, or was it my fever-induced state that did it?
I'm
You
gonna
got to
blame
listen.
that.
You got to
I'm gonna
stop
blame
taking
it on
those
that.
freaking loads, man. How many
I'm
times
gonna-
I got to
I'm-
tell you, amigo? No, just kidding.
Michael just flashed on the screen. So I think
Michael,
we
can you hear
him
now?
I can hear you the whole time.
Hey.
Yeah.
But we can hear you.
Yeah.
What'd you
How
do?
did you fix that thing, man? Come
I
on.
switched browser.
There you go.
Oh, what browser were you on anyway?
Electron frame wrapper thing that I was working on.
Oh, jeez.
Oh God!
Yeah, I would have guessed that in a minute. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Michael, what are you running right now?
Well, as far as distro or as far as browser?
Distro.
Distros.
Ubuntu 1804, KDE Neon, and Tergos KDE. I mean, the thing.
Keep in mind that AUR means, hey, you're really crazy. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, you're crazy.
Hey, you're really crazy. Hey. Michael, you came in late, but we had two topics tonight. But the second topic was we were talking about the issue on the internet about privacy and Ubuntu and the telemetry and the data collection. What are your
which
thoughts
I'm
about it?
completely for.
For
Mark
what?
was,
I'm sorry,
what?
data collection.
You're for data collection. Okay.
I'm for this
That's
particular usage. The way they're doing it,
Right.
the purpose of it. I'm absolutely for it because it is completely anonymous by default.
right.
It has no actual, there's the IPs are not stored or anything. There's no machine ID. There's no anything that associates anyone to anything.
Yeah.
It is completely anonymous,
Okay.
and the data that they're collecting is stuff you would give freely with NeoFetch or ScreenFetch on a Google Plus community randomly if you wanted to. Like, it's information that you would give out anyway, and it's very vital to have that kind of information at a grand scale, because the distros can make decisions based on the data rather than random shots in the dark.
Michael, now that's one of the things I raised about it for a question. I said, if they were doing it because we've all complained about this, maybe one particular distro running different on everybody else's machine, could this potentially help bring a continuity to that across hardware?
Yeah, they would know what kind of hardware is being used. How many people are using AMD versus NVIDIA? How many people are using certain resolutions, certain types of manufacturers, like even like the Dell. If you're a Dell user or an Asus user, that kind of information could provide a plethora of benefits to making decisions on how to improve, how to fix bugs, how to prioritize things, how many people are affected by this particular bug. Well, we know how many people are using this particular manufacturer. We can focus on this bug first and then go to the other manufacturers after, because more people are going to be affected, so we can fix more people first. Like, there's so many different variables that this is beneficial, and the fact that people are bothered by it is shocking, because I would have voted for them to do this a decade ago.
Yeah, but I think part of it is because of the world we've come from, especially if you've come to Linux from a Windows world. I think that's why there's a certain level of mistrust.
Yeah, but you can mistrust. I mean, it's unfair to say that Canonical is automatically not trustable because Microsoft is garbage. You know, because it's
Well,
like
no, it's not just that too. It's like you were saying, because the discussion earlier was like Tom said, because of the IPO behind it. Is there more than just that? You can't help but by nature be a little suspicious again, because it's like, oh, you get stung by a bee. Are you going to be around bees again? Right away. Or,
bees don't actually attack you unless you attack them.
Right, but the point is okay. You all right? You drink an outdated, you get a spoiled something, you drink it, and it's like you're gonna want to have it again. I guess that's the analogy. I keep putting analogies with it, but the point is it's just you're coming from a tainted environment. Hopefully, this is better.
There's one thing but that's why I think people should separate the ideas. If they're from Microsoft, if they're coming from Microsoft and they see this as a negative, they'd have to look into it more, because yes, Microsoft is absolutely taking data without regard, and they're doing it specifically to know who you are and to know what you're doing and everything that they could possibly get. That is not what Canonical is doing. And Canonical is also open about what they're doing. Everyone who decides to send the data can easily look at what the data is immediately just by running in command. That's all they have to do.
Too is, I don't think, in fairness, I don't think everybody's looking at this exactly as Microsoft. It's just a concern that you don't wind up there eventually. I guess that's the thing.
How many years has Ubuntu and Canonical been blamed in hysteria about them, that they've never done the things that people have said they've done?
They also, though, haven't been at the verge of an IPO.
So what? They're going to get more money. Red Hat is an IPO. They've already been public for years. Yeah. Like, why do people not hate Red Hat for being a public company? It's the same thing.
What data are they collecting on personal and private users?
Fedora is. Literally, yes. Fedora has a thing. By the way, there is the first run wizard that is using Ubuntu to collect data. There's a first run wizard in Fedora that does the same thing. And guess what? It is opt out. And people hate Canonical for doing this, but don't care because the glorious Red Hat is what? Why?
Well, for me, I don't hate Canonical.
I'm not saying you do. I'm saying there's so many people in the community that are just vicious to Canonical who are doing the same thing, like even and more openly admitting they're doing it, telling you transparently what they're getting, even to the point of saying, we're going to show you the data. We're not just collecting it for our own sake. We're going to share it and everyone can use it. But Fedora has already been doing it for a while, and we have no idea what they're doing with that data. But Canonical being public and open about it, hate them. Fedora doing it, ignore it completely.
Well, that's a little bit of a misdirect, though.
No, it's the whole point is neither.
Well, here's first and foremost is I'm not all that concerned. Like, I'm not as knowledgeable at Fedora because I've never classically traditionally liked it. I don't care for GNOME. I don't know how to run all the systems. I've installed Fedora 1 or 2 times. So now, what are they using? What are they collecting? Is it PopCon or is it some other method? What's
PopCon is a Debian-based thing. They have their own thing.
What's that?
PopCon is a Debian thing. By the way, PopCon is included by default in Ubuntu and is not turned on.
Correct. And I've been very clear about that with people. Correct. It is not turned on. And that's probably good. I'm curious why it's
I don't have a problem with them having it turned on.
Yeah. Well, what my argument is, coming from somebody who worked in the field of activism, it is a big deal. The fact that any data collection is collected from anybody's computer who works in those types of fields. So you're kind of approaching it from the same direction that I was talking about, approaching it from the development perspective, a developer's perspective, not a user's perspective, saying what are the types of things that we need as users.
No, because the user has the right to not send it.
But if you say not to send it, it still sends data.
It sends. You chose not to send it.
Correct.
That's all.
Correct.
That's good.
If I may digress just for 1 sec, we need to give Tim some love for sticking on with a temperature of 101.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he caught something he told me, but anyway, Tim, if you need to get off, you don't feel good. We'll talk later, but you know,
I'll hang on here for a little bit more.
Okay,
guys.
I'm sorry, Michael.
That is impressive.
Yeah. Well, it is a hot topic. Haha. Anyway, moving on.
I'm just saying, like, there's.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah.
There's legitimate reasons it's bad. That's what I'm saying.
No,
And-
not for Ubuntu. None of the reasons people have given have any validity whatsoever.
Well, I would disagree with you.
What? Give me one.
I've been giving you them. There are people in the activist field that can have a 0 about the systems that they're using being released in any way, because it's possible that the data being sent could be intercepted.
Your system is not sent.
What's that?
If you choose not to send it, your system data is not sent.
If you choose not to send it, there's still a ping coming from your computer to their computer. That could possibly be intercepted. And even though Ubuntu may not store the IP, you're telling me that people cannot crack encryption.
That is the purpose of encryption. It is incredibly hard to crack encryption. Yes.
And if somebody like an NSA, a whistleblower, an FBI wanted to, could they?
To attack you? Yes. To attack Canonical? Unlikely, because of how much massive attack,
That's what I'm talking
footprint
about.
That would be.
I'm talking about
if they would attack
I'm talking about whistleblowers. I'm talking about people.
If they attack they can attack individuals regardless of whatever they want. Right. They can attack your system and take anything they want at any point.
And what I'm saying is that there are legitimate reasons people would not want anything being sent, and that is why several people moved to the Linux community. That's what I'm saying. And it's wise to acknowledge that and respect
the people who don't refuse to use those kind of things would be using something like Tails that sends nothing that has no storage whatsoever, and they would use air gap computers because they're more worried about like literally going to any website whatsoever. So this one that I think that's an extreme that doesn't apply to this particular situation, this scenario. I mean,
I would disagree with you.
Why would they be using Ubuntu instead of something that's specifically tailored for the privacy and security that guarantees that when you turn it off, nothing is stored?
Well, what I'm saying is that there are people that do. Whether or not that's a good thing or not is a different story. That's what I'm saying, is that there's legitimate reasons not to have that data there. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, but those people don't need to use the system, and if they're aware of that, they need to take that concern, that consideration. They should be aware of the other options.
Yeah, but this is going back to the same point I'm saying, is that they're not listening to some people who do have legitimate concerns. They're just doing what they want to do. And to the hell with anybody's thoughts.
But those people who have the legitimate concerns should not be using that kind of distro anyway.
I agree, but that doesn't mean they won't.
Yeah, you don't completely just obliterate all potential good from a potential tiny potential negative that they shouldn't even be using in the first place.
Michael, let me ask you a hypothetical. We talked about this before you came. Sorry about that, but where would you draw the line? Where would be that threshold where you would say, you know what, this is wrong? Where would it be that?
If there's any identifiable information at all, I would have a problem with it.
Okay.
The fact that there isn't is why I don't have a problem.
Okay.
Well,
simple,
Michael, you understand more about what's going on under the hood or behind than any of us do. We're just, no matter what our knowledge base is, there's still users, anybody else, and because you're a developer and things like that, you're going to understand more than we ever would. So,
well, I'm not saying that.
Reassuring to have you to say those things. So,
okay, well, I'm glad I can help. I'm not trying to be like saying that data collection outright. I had one person comment saying that my comments were trying to claim that I'm inherently for data collection regardless of what it is. It was like, what? No. Like, that's an extreme I had never said, but they still try to associate. They're trying to put words in my mouth, and it's like, I am for this particular situation because they're not taking any identifiable information. They're taking information that you choose as a user to send them, and that's it. I don't have a problem.
I think we can agree here that we're all for the common good.
Yep.
So in this case, the collection of some data, specific data that could benefit in some capacity all of us, right, Michael? That's what you're saying.
The fact that they're making the data public as well, that makes it like incredibly potential. Like the amount of benefits it has is like the likelihood that anyone would be affected negatively is so small that I don't understand like the big like to just outright cut it at the leg and then like say
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
have it regardless.
Michael, you said there was a terminal command to find out what they. Can you post that in the chat to find out what they're collecting? Do you know what that
I
is?
believe it's Ubuntu dash reports that show.
But you
Oh,
can.
that's
you
all
can
it is. Oh, okay.
You can. You
What
can
is it?
actually do that on. You can actually do that on the installer. You can choose to show what the information is on the installer
It'll
as
tell you
well.
before you send it, and you can also
Yeah.
show it to you at any time.
That's right.
Okay,
What do you
Ubuntu
think
reports,
about?
okay.
I'm just interested, Michael. What do you think about what I think it was Quids Up last video? I think it was about
I disagree with the
the
entire video.
okay.
If you're referring to the one about the data about how to turn off the data collection, he didn't
Yeah.
even turn it off,
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
And
and
he
he
was-
broke the system.
No, he.
Yes, he broke the ability for the system to ever upgrade for like full.
And he told you that. Yes.
And he also did not remove the sending of the information anyway, because that's not how
he
it
did.
works. No, he didn't.
He
He
did.
doesn't understand how it works. It does not work that way.
How does it work? How does it actually collect and send the data?
Policy Kit sends the information with system control. That is how it works. Ubuntu report provides what the information is. That's it. It's not what it sends it. So the fact that he turned off something that doesn't have anything to do with what's sent. He didn't tell you. He doesn't know.
Well, let
And it's
him
fine-
know
it's
that,
fine
and he
to
will
want to
update
do-
his
if you
video.
want to do that, go ahead. But in my opinion, just don't use Ubuntu if you feel that strongly about it.
I think that that's kind of the point.
I don't think people should feel strongly about it, but if they do, then that's
I just,
their choice.
Michael, switch everybody. I just typed. I had to install Ubuntu report show. I just did the command. It's showing version OEM 1804. It's Lenovo, CPU, Arch. I don't know what Arch AMD 64 RAM. What's the Arch mean? Architecture.
Architecture.
Okay, all right. The screen resolution, auto login, live patch, false. That means I got it turned off. Is that what that
Yeah,
means?
it means if you have auto login on or off, and if you have live patch on or off.
Got it. DE Mate Type X11 Time Zone America New York, and that's where it ends. So that's all that I've been sharing.
Different. Mine shows
Right.
the
Okay.
It shows the distro I'm using, the release notes, AMD, partition method,
Okay.
which use device,
Oh.
downloading updates, true,
Okay.
language, English, minimal, false, which I didn't. I loaded the full version.
Yeah, mine is not a lot,
Restrict
but
add-ons, true.
Okay.
And it's got a list of stages. It's got language, console setup, wireless, prepare, Ubuntu Studio packages, part man,
okay.
start, install, time zone, user setup, user
Okay.
done, and done.
That's very.
No, it's not. It's not.
That's not that's not
if I could
anything.
talk through a list that quick, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all. Yeah.
I think the comments that are consistent across the board is that the people are concerned about the slippery slope. It's the slippery slope that I keep hearing about. So are they going to take it any further, or is it just going to be like this? I mean, I think
Slippery slope is the argument people say all the time to try to avoid legitimate concerns, like to avoid to try to bring something that is a negative where they don't actually have any reason to believe it's a negative. They just want to believe it's a negative.
Well, unfortunately, history has shown that human beings have the amazing recurring capacity potential to do stupid things. Now, that's what everybody is worried about.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that it would lead. I'm not saying that's what it is.
To do it. That's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because in the sense that people blame other people's actions for someone else. Like it's like the son being charged for the father's crimes thing. It's like, and this is not even that. This is completely irrelevant people being charged from completely irrelevant things that other people did. It's like,
okay,
it's not fair to be against something just because other people happen to be bad. If Canonical had done something that was actually nefarious before, I would be against it. Like I would not be against the decision. I would be more understanding of the decisions that people are making out to be for this. And I know people are going to go with the Amazon thing. It's like that's not even true of what they said that it was in the first place. So like it was very stupid for them to have done it, but it wasn't nefarious, and that's
right.
fine.
I kind of have a question.
It was the point that it was there, and that's what I was raising before. It's just the fact that it was there, and it kind of sent everybody into a tizzy over what it was a. And then they
Tim,
changed.
you have a question? Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is from. I do not have any education close to Tom or to Michael. I'm probably the least educated here. I'm just a desktop user. When I run Ubuntu report show, it's got partition method crypto. I encrypted the drive when I installed. Download updates true. Minimal is false. Restricted add-ons is true. Now I don't quite remember if I clicked that box or not, but if I did, I did.
It's the one where it says you want to have MP3s and stuff.
Yeah, and typically I don't do that. I just download things other than Flash. But
the Flash doesn't come with that anymore. I'm pretty sure.
Doesn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, when you install the restricted add-ons, you install what would be considered proprietary software on an open source system. True or false?
Technically, neither.
Okay.
Because it depends on your level of like how much do you care about it being open source or not.
Okay.
Because is it more open source to not have them? Yes. Is it outright completely free software? No. And neither is most distros. Like for example, Fedora is 100% free and open source, except for two things, which completely, and the fact that it's not 100% breaks the entire approach of being it. But the reason they do it is for compatibility of hardware. The same thing, like some binary blobs that make compatibility of hardware easier is a compromise that people have made for distros for a wide variety of distros.
Okay.
But there are other distros, for example, like Debian, that are by default up front open source, that have a whole non-free stack that you can pull in and add better performance and stuff like that. But Ubuntu has up front some of those binaries and stuff installed. So I would say it's not necessarily turning a free into a non-free. Like it's turning into a free focused, but modified for practicality. I think that's most Linux distros are like that too.
Okay.
Like pragmatism is a very important thing at this point.
So when I ran that command Ubuntu report show, is that truly the entire thing that I've been sharing, A to Z?
100% the only thing you send.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And if you say no, I don't want to send it, the Ubuntu report show will still show you what it sends, which all it sends is opt out equal true.
Okay.
Michael, you're correct. It does not pull in the Adobe Flash plug installer.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was deprecated about a year ago. And I think that because it was deprecated, it was removed. But I couldn't remember exactly. It was just
Isn't there what's it called? Pepper Flash?
Pepper Flash.
Yeah, Pepper Flash is also kind of not important anymore either.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's way out.
Okay. All right.
Flash is at the
Google,
level of
Google
90.
Chrome.
Yeah, Google. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Pepper Flash is the Google Chrome version of Flash, isn't it?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. And there's also Fresh Player, which is like a combination thing.
Right.
But like the main thing is that you don't really need Flash anymore because like 90% of things don't use it anymore. Like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube, all of them do HTML5 now. So like it is almost irrelevant to even care about Flash. Like you might have occasional random things that still use Flash, but it is very small. The only thing I can think of that's big is Crunchyroll.
Toss, I've got to go. It's lunchtime.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I'm having huge internet problems here as well. It's
okay.
just really bad today. So, look, I've had a blast talking to you guys. I'd like to stay around as long as you guys. But,
Yeah, I'll probably jump off here around 1 in
yeah,
another
all
half
right.
hour. All right.
Okay, I'll see you guys later.
Take
Thanks.
care,
Take care,
Colin.
Colin.
Thank you for
Colin.
stopping. Yeah.
Down.
Take
Bye.
care, buddy. Yeah. Ciao.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Frostbite, you cannot find the Ubuntu reports in 17.10.1. Did you install it?
It's not in 1710.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. All right.
It only exists for 1804.
Got it. Okay. All right.
And also Ubuntu Mate does have the Ubuntu reports as well. But as far as I know, it's the only one that also has the only flavor that has it. I think there
really?
might be one other flavor, but I don't remember if they do or not.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
But
running
no,
Ubuntu Mate now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the flavors, all the flavors should have. I think all distros should have something that gives some kind of data that you can choose to send or not. Now, if they want to turn off the opt-in and not send the information at all, that's up to the distro. That's fine. If you want the other approach, instead of having an opt-in or opt-out, it's just choose yes or no. And if you choose no, it just doesn't send anything.
Okay.
If you want to do that, that's cool. Go ahead. I just think that the decision they made to send the no is good because it gives them information about knowing how many people say no. Otherwise, they have no reference point. So they can't tell you whether they have whether if someone asks them like how many people say yes and no. Well, I don't know. So if they didn't send that information, they would all they would have is yeses. So
I made a point before that from what I see as a dual booter, and I do feel more secure in Linux and private than I do in Windows 10, obviously. But I think there would be if Ubuntu or ABC Linux or whatever were to cross that threshold that we talked about, I think there would be self-correcting market forces. So in other words, I would be saying that enough customers would stop using Ubuntu, or what if they had crossed that thread, use something else. Yeah.
I don't think they would even cross, but I think that you're right.
Speculating. Yeah, speculating.
The community would not stand for outright violations. Like, this is a arguable, debatable situation. If they were just straight up taking stuff and using identifiable information, if they were like basically a distro Facebook, I don't think anybody would argue for them.
Right.
I think even some of their employees would leave out of principle.
Yeah.
So maybe I agree that it probably would be replaced, but I just don't think they'll ever do that.
Well, Charlie has a question. If any open source does opt-in spying and opt-out spying, no matter how much data is collected, can it be true open source?
It's not spying, and open source has nothing to do with that.
I think you meant to say probably data collection, opt-in data collection, or opt-out data collection.
Nah, you can't accidentally say spying twice.
Okay.
Like if it was spying, they wouldn't tell you they're doing it. They wouldn't tell you what they're doing, and they wouldn't give the information to show you what they're getting. Like, and they wouldn't give you the choice. And it's like, it's not spying. It's voluntary information providing.
Perhaps is the potential to cross that threshold to be potentially spying.
No, I don't think. No, I don't even think so at all. The fact and the only way it crosses that threshold is if they don't give you the option.
Yeah.
And if they don't tell you. And data collection is not spying if they tell you that's not what spying means. Spying specifically means that you don't know it's happening. And open source has nothing to do with there's no requirement other than the fact that your source is open. Now, your source can be open in free license and be malicious. It's still technically open source.
All right, let me play James Bond here for a second. That Ubuntu report show thing that I just typed in the show, what was harmless. Is it possible that that's fake and they're faking us out, or that's what it is?
I mean, in this case, it's not possible because the source code is open. You can see what it's doing.
Okay.
In the sense of like the argument that they could show you something that they're not sending and send something else. Theoretically, a distro could do that. Any system could do that.
Okay.
But the fact that you can take the code of Ubuntu reports and see what it's making Like
Mhm.
you know, it.
Okay.
I don't. It's unlikely that that's a thing.
So at this point, from what you've seen, we can trust that report. It is what it's saying.
That yes, that is. I've looked in the source code of Ubuntu reports. That is all it sends.
Okay.
And it sends it to metrics.ubuntu.com,
Okay.
and it sends it through an HTTPS, so the connection is secure. The only thing they know is the IP that you would use to go to Ubuntu.com's website in the first place, because it's automatically an IP is gonna. You have to use your IP to go to the website or use a VPN. And you could send the system through. If you connect your network to a VPN, it would just know that your VPN sent the thing. Like they don't care how you send it to them. And if you have a VPN that's on an IP you use one time to send it to them and turn it off and never use again, fine, solved. They didn't know who, they wouldn't know anyway. But they don't keep the IP anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
I mean, websites that are minuscule websites keep your IP, you know, that have no reason to do so, because they do like Google Analytics and things like that. Like worthless pages do that.
Okay. I was saying before that when I did the interview with Alan Pope from Ubuntu, it was a very pleasant chat. We spoke over an hour. It was great, but I cut it down. You know, I was telling my friends here that I don't think security ever popped into my head, or the thought of it. That's how secure I feel right now with Linux in general, even though there's been a lot of controversy. And it's good to have these open conversations so people, newbies, know what the heck's going on, or even people who are not newbies, as it were. But the conversation's good. It needs to be said. And I think both you guys, Switch and you, Michael, make valid points. You know, it's people need to be aware of what's going on. People need to understand it and be aware that even though right now it seems harmless, there is the potential. I'm not saying that it will cross the threshold. There is the potential.
I still don't think there's a potential.
Well,
there's a possibility, but a potential implies that there's a likelihood. I don't think
then we'll use possibility. Yeah, we'll use the possibility. It's fine. We use that word.
Okay.
But I don't feel it now as a dual booter. You know, I don't right now. Windows 10 is my backup OS. That's how good Linux or Ubuntu Mate has gone for me anyway. You know, I don't really right now. The only time I'm booting into Windows if I do a Windows Wednesday. Talking about Windows for the Windows, or I have to update the system, you know, security, you know, updates or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's how good I think Ubuntu Mate and others you like Ubuntu, and that's fine, has gotten. But I do feel
I
more. I
like Ubuntu Mate. I actually contribute to it.
Okay, cool. All right, fair enough.
Like I like all of them. Like
okay.
Even though they're not my preferred desktop environment, I still contribute to a lot of their different projects, even if I don't.
Right.
I think Toss has a really valid point. You know, understanding is a big thing, especially for new people. And you know, let's face it, there are a lot of people out there in the Linux world, from a strict user perspective, for me, that should I say knee jerk in their reactions?
Yeah.
Would that be fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
And the thing is that, you know, you have to get the people that you trust first and foremost, and you know, hear the debate, such as you and Tom had, Mike, and really think about, okay, is this important to me? Because at the end of the day, it's a value to me to know what my OS is doing. If I don't really don't give a rat's rear end,
right,
then that's the way I'm going to be. I mean, I'm probably the only guy on here that regularly uses Gmail. And I'm going to be quite honest. I've been honest before. I use it because there's a convenience.
Yeah.
I use it because I like it.
Yeah.
And if Google wants to collect anything from me, so be it. You know,
I use it for non-vital stuff, but I do use it too.
Yeah, you know, and to me, it's kind of like I'm not going to take myself and put myself in this glass box with an internet cable running out of it. And whenever I feel like I've been misled or anything as such, I'm going to shut the window and chop off that cable. I'm going to switch OSs. That's a beautiful thing about using Linux for me. If I don't like the direction a distro is going, whether it's the desktop environment to the stuff that it offers out of the box, the
Right.
utilities that it offers out of the box that are helpful to me as a user. If I don't like them or I like one or another, that's where I'm going to gravitate towards. The whole privacy, I think the whole privacy thing, honestly, is blown way out of proportion. And I don't say that to hurt anybody's feelings, but let's face it, we live in a digital world.
Yeah.
We take chances every time we walk out our front door, whether it be being hit by a school bus or having somebody get our data. And the only thing that you can do is be diligent with that, with everything that you do. You know, be careful what websites you visit. If you make online payments, take heed. You know,
but make sure your passwords are for every website.
Yeah, exactly. The simple stuff like that. And I mean, there's good protocols there that, dare I say it, kind of take the whole privacy thing and the whole concern about data collection, and it kind of throws it out the window to a degree. Not completely, but to a large degree it does.
I mean, if it takes out the questionnaire, like you're focused on the idea of having a plan to how you control your data. And I agree that people should care about their privacy. I'm not saying, like, for example, I've had people ask me if they should get Movie Pass, and I'm like, Movie Pass is cool because it allows you to watch movies for very cheap, going to the theaters for like $10 a month, and you can go and like once a day, every day if you want to. That's a cool process. But they also have your allocation of exactly where you are, exactly at certain times of certain days that you go and watch it, and they know what theater you are, like within 5 to 10 minutes that you were there from when you got there until when you leave. Like, that is a level of
I didn't know
privacy.
that. Yeah, I don't use that, but I didn't know that. Okay.
I think that's a little bit on the high side.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying, like, that the amount of data that they're collecting from people is like, that is too much for me. And I think at that point, that is that's an extreme that I would not like. It seems like a good thing, but it's like too much. But then on the other side, if there's a person who, like, whether it's a distro or whether it's a website that asks for my permission to do something, and they tell me what they want it to do, what they're asking for, the data that they're collecting from me, and what they want to use it for, I'm okay with it as long as they're transparent about it.
Yep. And that's all you can hope for, is that transparency. And for me, as this kind of more of a desktop user, not a real tech head, as long as there's transparency there, I'm good with it. And then it's left up to me to decide whether or not what they're disclosing to me fits with my own, call it technical morals, for lack of a better term. And if it fits, you know what? So be it. If they make a heck of a nice product, I'm going to use it. If I use it for a long enough time, I'm going to contribute to it the way I can.
Yeah, and also applies to, like, going to websites that track your involvement on their site. Like, that's beneficial because they know, for example, how many times someone goes to a specific page. They know. They don't have to know who you are, and they don't have to care who you are, but they want to know the interaction, because just the fact of going to that page with a certain amount of people and a rough area based on, like, because IP can actually be roughly about 20-40 miles or so, which is not necessarily a good thing in some cases, like, depending on who's collecting the information, but you can obfuscate it and make it larger, like the way that Ubuntu is, where they don't use the IP at all. They just the way they get the time zone is you select it in the installer, and it just uses whatever you selected. So if you pick something that you don't even use and you send that data, go change it later, it's not going to send it again because it sends it one time. So, like, you could change the time zone if you want to and not be accurate, and then go back and change it to the right one if you want to.
This is priceless. Did you see that, Joe?
Yeah.
English Bob that said, may I ask you all to wish Prince Harry and Meghan a great wedding and mail them a copy of the Peppermint OS 8 DVD.
He sounds about excited as we are.
And we're going to put your name on it, Bob. From
man.
Bob. I was watching a news thing, and they're like, next topic is the Prince Harry and blah blah. I don't care.
Oh man.
Like, I don't wish anything negative to them.
Yeah, yeah, but we have
Not
problems.
anymore.
Like here, we have freaking potholes, man. I'm not worried about a wedding.
Like,
There
it's a
was
little
a
creepy to be able to like want to watch some random person you
Yeah.
don't know get married.
Well, it's the fantasy, the royal wedding. There was a true story. Was a joke. There was an actor, British actor, and he got an invitation by the Queen. She invited him overseas for a visit, and they're taking a horse and buggy ride, right? So they're talking, and I guess one of the horses farts, and the Queen says, "I'm sorry," and the guy says, "Oh, I thought it was the horse."
Oh,
I love it, love it. Of course, he's a comedian. He may have been lying, but wonderful joke, story, whatever.
I look like the oldest man here. I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
oh, come on, Joe. You aren't farting dust yet.
I like that. Oh my. Oh God. That was a good one.
At our age, you got to make sure you trust it when you do it.
Next comes the Depends commercial, right?
No, that came from. Have any of you guys ever seen? I can't remember the name right off the top of my head. It's the movie with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson, and they both get diagnosed with cancer.
Is that Bucket List or something?
Bucket List. Yeah, my wife has said Bucket List.
Okay.
Jack Nicholson says something to Morgan Freeman, and I'll do this clean, but
Yeah,
he
go
said
ahead.
there's three things that you don't. There's three things that you never do. What's that on? Never trust a fart. Never waste an erection. And there's something else. I can't remember what it is. Oh, and never pass up a bathroom. Never pass up a bathroom.
Never trust a fart. I didn't know certain farts could be trustworthy.
It depends on what kind of data collection is being
It
sent.
depends if they're
Yeah,
weather.
it depends on how much methane is in the.
Well, didn't DistroTube say the other day he stopped at lunch and got Taco Bell?
Oh wow.
And then that night he had he's from Louisiana, so they eat a lot of well, I can't recall the type of food. It's Creole food or something. And that night he had like brown beans and rice and cornbread. Oh my god!
God, sometimes
my dog would hang around with
Yeah.
me for 3 days if I ate that crap.
Just think of the images that people are going to go
the
to.
dogs go.
Oh.
Sometimes as an Italian,
as she's sitting here looking at her
I'll
butt.
overeat, and then at night it's like the Mormon Tabernacle Choir coming out of my butt, man. I can't fall asleep because it's just the trombones or whatever, the voices are coming out, But even to me, it's disgusting,
You know what? I just realized here we are back on food again.
Yeah.
Every show, we almost
We're
got
trying
through it
to.
without
I gave
talking
Tim
about food.
advice on whiskey instead of that, and then we got Cajun food and gumbo and yeah. Oh man.
Boy, oh boy. We can really go down speaking of slippery slopes.
Yeah, something
Boy, oh
smelly
boy.
going on here. Yes, Johan. Yeah,
And
I
if
mean
you
the
guys
show
blame
really
it-
stinks now. Yeah.
If you blame it on me, it's my fever-induced
Oh, there
partial
you
coma.
go.
That's it.
There you go. We've gone from Ubuntu to farts. There for sure.
I wonder if that would demonetize you.
Anyway.
Thanks
All
for
right.
the invite once again, Toss. Pleasure to be here with you and the others.
Thank you for stopping by, and I know you don't feel good, but we'll talk again. All
Tom,
right,
you and Joe.
Yeah.
Tom, you and Joe take care, and Michael, it was my pleasure meeting
All
you.
right.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah. All
We
right,
will-
to everybody in the
we'll-
live chat, thank you. Joining us again next Friday, and always for a lively discussion again. But this is what's all about: being transparent in our discussions, and maybe we can all learn something. So I'm going to stop the broadcast. If you guys want to stick around a little bit more privately, it's fine. But everybody in the chat, in the live chat, thank you. If you have any questions about comments or whatever about Linux, you can stop here, stop at Tom's channel, switch to Linux, TuxDigital. Tux, you still have your live show every Saturday, right? Usually?
Yeah, my every Saturday afternoon.
And what time? That's Eastern time, right?
Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
Ish.
Check. Ish.
Yeah.
Any time between 1 and 6 p.m. he should be on. No.
That is sadly accurate to what it.
Okay. See, we're transparent even when it's not to our advantage, as it were.
Somewhere between 1 and 5 was probably the most like.
Okay. Fair enough.